So we've been talking about strength, and in this video, I'd like to focus on emotional strength, which is primarily measured by emotional intelligence. Now, statistics have shown over and over again that emotional intelligence is a much higher factor in life success than IQ or mental intelligence or academic intelligence, which means that people who have higher emotional intelligence are more likely to excel or succeed in life than people who have lower emotional intelligence or who have just higher IQ. Understand that I'm not saying higher IQ is a bad thing, but you have to grow your emotional intelligence alongside your IQ if you are really going to make a success of your life. Now, emotional intelligence talks about how intelligent you are when it comes to emotions, how well you understand the emotional space. Just like IQ talks about how well you are able to navigate the academic space, emotional intelligence talks about how well you are able to navigate the emotional space. So it talks about how well one is able to take charge of and manage their emotions. It's about how effectively we can respond to situations outside of our emotions. It's about being able to take meaningful and logical decisions in spite of how we're feeling. Now, one thing I need us to understand is that emotional intelligence does not mean denying your feelings. It does not mean you don't feel at all. It doesn't mean killing your emotions or deadening your emotions or not feeling emotions or denying your emotions. No, it talks about not responding based on them. There are two extreme responses that our emotions can drive us to. Number one is incapacitation. So your emotions can incapacitate you. They can stop you from acting. So somebody gets afraid of something and they can't move. They become rooted to a spot, or they're rooted by grief. They can't do anything. So it immobilizes them. Their emotions immobilize them. On the other extreme is impulsive action. So the other thing that your emotions can drive you to is to just act without thinking. Right. So on the one hand, the person can't act at all. They're just dead. They just become motionless. On the other hand, the person does not think before taking action when they are in an emotional state. So they just act on impulse without even thinking. Now, an emotionally intelligent person is neither incapacitated nor driven to impulsive actions by their emotions. They are able to stop and take time to think and determine the kind of actions that they want to bring out. Now, I'm going to use the example of fear, which is one of the most extreme emotions. And that is because most times when you're in a situation that makes you fearful, you need to take an immediate decision to remove yourself from that situation. So if you're in a dangerous situation, for example, and you're very scared, you have to take a decision immediately, almost immediately. So fear usually drives us to immediate action, even if it's for a split second, just for a few moments. But even in such dangerous situations, your ability to stop and think can make a complete difference in the outcome of that situation. And so it's important that we're able to harness our emotions, we're able to manage them, and that we control them. We don't let them control us. This is one of the most important skills that we can learn. As with everything, emotional intelligence can be enhanced, it can be built. Nobody is born emotionally intelligent. We all feel different emotions to different levels. And so nobody is really born emotionally intelligent. We learn it. It's a skill that we learn. And no matter how old we are, we can still learn how to be emotionally intelligent. And that is the point that we need to get to. So I'm going to say one or two things about how to build emotional intelligence. The first thing is that you need to understand your own primary emotions and tendencies. We all have different tendencies. We all have different emotions. Some people are more fearful generally than others. Some people are more jovial. Some people are more reserved. Some people are prone to sadness, different things. We all feel different things. And you have to understand your own primary emotions. Now, understanding it does not necessarily mean judging yourself, because sometimes we are afraid to admit the negative tendencies or emotions that we have to ourselves. But it's important in building emotional intelligence that you accept and understand. Just accept them, acknowledge them. Let me not say accept, but you learn to acknowledge the primary emotions that you feel, good or bad. If you're someone that tends to be envious of others, acknowledge it. If you're somebody that is short-tempered, you tend to get angry easily, acknowledge it. Every emotion, if you're someone that tends to get fearful easily, acknowledge it. So that's the first step that you need to take. Understand your own primary emotions and understand what drives them, what gets you to that point, what triggers those emotions, where do they come from. Some of us, it's because of our upbringing. Some of us, it's because of some certain experiences that we've had in life. But understand them, understand the kind of situations that you are in that triggers them and where they tend to come from. So what this does for you is that it helps you to understand the areas where you're strong, the areas where you're weak, the areas where you need to work on, the areas where you need to take caution. Immediately you feel something coming on, you understand where it's coming from. You are able to take charge of it because you know what is coming. And that's why you should not deny the emotions, but acknowledge them. And then you can now determine how you want to work on them. The next thing is that you need to understand people and how they think or how they respond to your own primary emotions. You have to have a general understanding of people. One of the things you need to understand is that not everybody is going to see you the way you see yourself. The fact that your emotions are coming from a good place does not mean that people are going to see it coming from a good place. And so let me give an example. If somebody is a very bubbly, effervescent person, that means you are a joyful person. You tend to express that joy and, you are very brilliant. You come out and you're friendly and social and you're always smiling. Now, some people are going to love that about you and they're going to take it and say, this is a lovely person, and they're going to be drawn to you for that reason. Other people are going to feel like this person is too forward. So it's going to drive some other people. It's going to be something that repels some people from you. You have to understand how people interact with your emotion or with what you're expressing. You have to understand the impact of your emotion on particular situations or not. Right? Now, at the core of understanding people and how they think is empathy. Now, before I go on to talk about empathy, I'd like us to understand that there are two extremes of the pros and cons of emotional intelligence. An extreme display of emotional intelligence on the negative side is manipulation. People who are very manipulative are usually very emotionally intelligent. When you think of a narcissist, is very emotionally intelligent. They're emotionally aware. They understand people. They understand people's emotions, and they're able to take it and use it for their own selfish means. So at one extreme is manipulation. Every manipulative person you see has a good measure of emotional intelligence. And so they play on the emotions of the people around and they're able to use them to their own advantage, but in a negative way. So manipulation is one extreme on the negative side. Now, on the positive side is empathy. Empathetic people are usually very emotionally intelligent as well, because it talks about the ability to put yourself in the shoes of the other person and read the situation through that other person's lenses. And that is one skill that you need to build as you go on your emotional intelligence journey, or as you grow in your emotional intelligence journey. You have to be empathetic. You have to step into the shoes of others, understand how they are seeing things, whether good or bad. That's the thing, whether good or bad. Here, the goal is not to judge whether their emotions are positive or negative, but understand where they are coming from. When you understand where people are coming from, it's easier for you to know how to bring about the right response in that situation. So, for example, one very common example that we have is when you have adults who speak with teenagers. Many times, as adults, we're speaking from our own experience, we're speaking from what we know, and we could be right because the teenager has never walked that path. They don't know what's coming. But we are not putting ourselves in the shoes of that teenager and seeing ourselves on their side and how they will be taking in what we're saying. So that's just an example. If you get into a situation, get in there. Put yourself in the shoes of others. So I remember giving a talk one day to young ladies, and one of them was, it was a church, and she was saying, when I came into this church, everybody was just snobbish. Nobody spoke to me. Nobody talked to me, and they just ignored me. And, everybody just had an attitude, blah, blah, blah. And she was talking about all that. And I asked her a simple question. Did you smile at anybody and they frowned at you? Did you offer a smile, or what was the look on your face? And at that point, she thought about it and she realized that no, she didn't. So you come into a place, you're already expecting that they will react to you in a certain way. You are feeling shy, and you expect everybody to understand that you are feeling shy and it's your first time. Hey, guess what? I may not know that it's your first time. I may not have seen you before, but it's a church setting. I may not realize that it's your first time. 1, 2, I may be rushing off to do something. People are usually very busy. If I'm a committed person in church, I could be busy doing something that I didn't even notice that somebody was walking beside me. I just walked past and just said something and moved on. So if you were to put yourself in that person's shoes and you offered a smile or just said hi as you passed by. Now, if the person does not answer you and it is obvious, then we can have something to talk about. But you haven't even done that. And I believe that most people, when they try, they'll find out that people are not reacting to them as emotionally as they think. The situation is not as emotional as they think it is. So if you find a friendly person, the person usually has given off a friendly vibe. So they come into a place, they're smiling, they're saying hi, and people just naturally flock towards that person. But if you came into a place where in a straight face, you're making people feel a bit scared about putting you off. So the thing is to read yourself through the lenses of others and then take the step that will produce the results that you want. So that's the key to being emotionally intelligent. Empathy is the key to being emotionally intelligent. Look at things through the lenses of others. Understand where they're coming from, or seek to understand where they're coming from. Give it the different interpretations, and then both the negative and the positive, because it's not every situation that is positive. Some situations are negative, but you need to get a positive outcome from it. So I'll give you an example. I remember a young lady talking some time back about a situation where she found herself in a room. A friend came in to visit her. It was in school, and she didn't realize that the corridor was quiet. So he comes into the room, and then next thing she knows, he's trying to have his way with her. And she thought about it. At first, of course, she was very afraid. She didn't know what to do. This guy is stronger than me, he's taller than me, he's bigger than me. I don't know what to do. And she was not close to the door. She was nearer the other end of the room. So she said she thought for a minute, and she thought, okay, you know what? She tells him, she now goes into a mood where she's pretending to be flowing with him, and she's like, oh, you know what? Hold on, just hold on a minute. Let me get a condom, or let me get things set. Let me lock the door. Let me make sure that. And of course, because of the guy and where his mind is at that time, he's not conscious of what she's doing, and he thinks, oh yeah, she's giving in. And so at that point, she knows what she's doing. She just moves towards the door. Then she runs out of the room, and that's how she escaped. So her ability to think in that situation, not be immobilized by her fear, and to actually take a moment to say, okay, I'm afraid, but what can I do, is what saved her in that situation. So it's not always that we're in a positive situation or that the people around us are positive. But if you are able to see through their lenses, so she was able to see through his lens, he's being driven by this manic need to have carnal knowledge of her. And so she takes advantage of that. She thinks through the situation and thinks of the outcome she needs to get. And then she gets that outcome. She's able to work towards getting that outcome. And so that's an example of an application of emotional intelligence. You get it, you're in a space or a situation, you understand what's going on, you've been able to look at the emotions that are playing out in the room, you understand where they're coming from, and you are able to behave according to those emotions to get the right response. So somebody could be in a place and everywhere is so dreary and they're thinking, oh, everybody's bored and looking down and sad. And my goal is to get everybody smiling. I may not be in the best mood to start smiling and laughing at that time, but I'm looking at others, I'm putting myself in their shoes, I'm saying, okay, what's going on here? What can I do that will bring everybody out? And for that reason, I'm able to create the emotion that needs to be in that room at that time. And that's why on the other extreme, you can easily see why on the other extreme, the negative extreme of it, it's manipulation. That's why manipulative people are extremely emotionally intelligent. They come into a space, they look at it, they look at everybody there, they read what's going on, and then they're able to get the results that they want. So that's an extreme negative application. You can also see mostly emotional intelligence is a very, very helpful tool in dealing with people. Why? Because we are emotional beings. We are social beings. We all have one emotion or the other. And most important thing we can do for ourselves is knowing the right emotion to get the results that we want. That's why emotionally intelligent people get better results out of life than other people, because many things that we do, that human beings do, are not based on how smart they are. We are more emotional beings than we are academic or intelligent or book smart people. So that's what I came to share with us today. I hope you learned something or two from this. If you did, please tell me in the comment section. Don't forget to take a look around my channel and watch other interesting stories and valuable videos. Don't forget to like this video, to share it, and definitely don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And oh yes, you can join the Valiant Women's community by clicking on the link in the description box. It's a community where we share experiences, we get coached, we get taught, and we carry out many interesting activities that will enhance us as women. Till I come your way again, ciao!